We've learned here in Taos, New Mexico about Eartship biotecture and to try to help develop self-sustaining homes made out of recycled materials all over the world.
People want to do something that's good for people. They want to do something that's good for the environment. So there seems to be a general mindset of, just wanting to be helpful and friendly.
I mean, that's the best thing about the whole experience is the people. Being surrounded by such excited, inspired, beautiful people every day, and so much passion and energy.
But the common denominators are beautiful for everyone. We want to make this world a better place, and we're going to accomplish it. And there's nothing that's going to stop us. And now we've got the awareness. Thankfully, Mike Reynolds had the courage to, to stick with this idea long enough to have it get out of the lab and into the streets. And now we have to figure out how to move it forward.
The people really connect on that. They see that you can live self-sustainable, you can live a different lifestyle, and they're passionate about it, they want to pursue it. They're willing to give up any odds to come out here and to make that dream a reality. And it's invigorating, I'm around those people every day and I feed off of that energy, and that's the best thing. These beautiful people come from all over the world. It gives me hope to see that this is going places and the people are the ones that are leading the way.
We have a pretty amazing group of instructors here at Eartship Biotecture. They are experts in their field, they're experienced, they're educated, they've been here doing it for years, and it's just an amazing group. I mean, we start off with Mike Reynolds, who is the founder of all this, an innovator in architecture.
I would say that they've developed because of the team that has accumulated. All the instructors here are really great and they bring a lot of really cool ideas. I appreciate just the way that they teach the classes. Everybody's very, very honest, and just good senses of humor.
Here it reaches over 9,000 feet. It's really cold here at night, most times of the year. All you do is you open up the skylight, the outside cold temperature comes down through a ductwork and it works its way into the refrigerator. And it comes down into the top part, which is the freezer. This is a super insulated thermal refrigerator. You can see the door, how thick the insulation is on it. He has this little adobe brick fireplace, okay, great mass. Fire charges the brick, radiates heat into the space, thermodynamics, used with laws of physics. He decides to cut a hole in the bottom of his refrigerator, and he puts a flex pipe in there that goes under the floor, comes right up in here on the side of the fireplace, feeding it oxygen, convection draw, coming down through. So he's got like cold food happening and this romantic little fireplace thing all happening on a really, really crappy cold day up here. I have mad respect for the pioneers of Earthships that came up here in little trucks with every grain of sand, because you could not, we are so spoiled, even out at the Star Community where Tom's taking you today, where TGP will come out with sand, gravel, Randall's will come out with a pallet of Portland. You can only bring up a few bags of Portland at 100 pounds a piece with little half-ton trucks, and that's how the entire community was built. I decided, well, I'm already at maximum capacity, and I know how many amp hours I have, so I know how long I can discharge. I recognized very quickly that I was capable of doubling my battery bank. So I added 4 more L16s, still 6 volt, but now I've got 8 batteries, and they float by 10:30 in the morning now. So, and this is set as a tracker. It's a manual tracker. So I can tilt it for the solstice, and I could, if I really wanted to be super anal, I'm home, I'm retired, I could chase the sun. If I wanted to come out and bother to do it.
When we last visited the Kinney family Earthship in southern Alberta, Michael Reynolds and the crew from Eartship Biotecture were still building the Earthship with a large volunteer crew. It was the height of summer and a hot, plus 30 degrees Celsius outside. In winter, the prairie transforms into a cold and inhospitable place that to some resembles a lunar landscape. But despite outside temperatures dipping as low as minus 20 to minus 30 degrees Celsius, the Earthship remains quite hospitable.
We're a year and a half since the Earthship was constructed in the summer of the year previous, and it's been really incredible, really happy to have it. It's been performing really well, and the question we get every time that people send me a question over the internet or see me in person, they're like, well, how does it do in the winter? How does it do in the winter? And here's the perfect example of a winter kind of experience here in the Earthship. So it's the middle of January. It's been cloudy and crappy weather for 4 or 5 straight days. It is about minus 15 outside right now. So we've had the stove going since we woke up this morning, and it's 20 degrees inside, and it's really pleasant in here, and that's just with the kind of sunshine streaming in and this tiny little wood stove that only takes wood that's about yay big.
Yes, you heard right. In the dead of winter, the Kinney Earthship drops to 14 degrees Celsius at night, and thanks to passive solar energy, bounces right back to 22 degrees on a sunny day without any additional heat. The Kinneys use a small wood stove to provide supplemental heat on cool mornings or cloudy days. The Earthship gets all of its electricity from a modest 4 kilowatt solar system with batteries. For only the second time ever, the Kinney Earthship ran out of electricity the day we were there.
Well, yeah, so it is the worst case scenario. There's just not very much production right now. It's been several days in a row of cloudy weather, so you're not getting the solar production that you need. The AC did tick off this morning. There's still, everything that's on DC is still running, so the fridge is still running, the water is still running. But right now we're just charging up our system with this kind of weak morning daylight in order to tick on our AC as soon as we can.
It's pretty easy to build an Earthship that supplies more electricity. However, the Kinneys are energy conservers by nature. The next day, the sun came out and recharged the system. Duncan Kinney explains.
Oh yeah, if you wanted to go Tim Allen, grunting, you could have a giant Earthship with this huge system on it, with a massive battery system, and you could have just as much, you could have super redundant, awesome, huge systems, and it would just be like a regular house. But we're a little more conservation oriented, so we do have a big propane tank out the side of the house, and that propane tank, which we've had for a year and a half now, is still 65% full, so we don't use very much of it. But that's what we do cook with, so we do have a stove that is built to run on propane. It's a natural gas stove that's been converted to run on propane. We have a backup kind of on-demand hot water heater for if you want to take a warm shower and it's not necessarily sunny out. And then we also have a clothes dryer that runs off of that propane system as well, but I don't imagine that clothes dryer gets used very often. They usually just hang it because it's so bright and sunny in here.
Perhaps the single most important energy system in the Earthship is its passive solar energy design. The entire front of the home is a greenhouse, which collects passive solar energy for heating and to grow food year-round.
Oh yeah, so if it was minus 15 outside but sunny, that greenhouse would get up to 10, 15, 16 degrees, and it would be very pleasant in there. And inside, the living space would get up to 20, 21, 22 degrees, no problem. It gets really, really nice in here if it's, no matter what temperature it is outside, if it's a nice sunny day.
Glenn Kinney is Duncan's father. The greenhouse is vital to the Earthship concept of harvesting passive solar energy, treating wastewater, and yes, growing food. In the dead of the Canadian prairie winter, Glenn gives us a tour.
So, like I said, it's all an experiment on what can grow and what doesn't grow, and we planted peppers at the beginning of last year, but nothing grew for a long time, and then all of a sudden they started growing later in this season. So here's one of our peppers that has continued to grow.
And there we are, tomatoes in January.
Yeah, there's another. This is one of our volunteers that we found outside and just brought it inside a couple of years ago. And for greens, we've got some Swiss chard, and I planted some turnips just to get some turnip greens, and we got some green onions that are growing here, and some different herbs. We got some I think that's rosemary there, and some parsley.
The Earthship collects rainwater, which is stored in underground cisterns that hold 26,000 liters of water. The system even uses solar thermal energy to melt snow in the winter. The Earthship also treats and recycles water. Duncan explains.
All right, so we're in the greenhouse right here, and the gray water system is just kind of just underneath this layer of soil here. So you would turn on the showers and the sinks in the bathroom. And that water would go into the reception cell, it would filter down into another pipe, and then slowly infiltrate into the gray water system here. And then there's just a very slight grade, runs all the way down the length of the greenhouse here. And that water either gets, when it gets to the end, either gets pumped back to the top of the greenhouse, or it gets pumped into the house to flush the toilets with. So yeah, the water system here has been incredible. It's one of the kind of best features of the house. We get about 13 inches of rain a year, and there's like cactus everywhere, so it's not like we're getting a lot of rain. And we've never been below like 3/4 full, a system full of water. And it's, yeah, the water system has been great, aside from having to kind of clean the filters if you get like a lot of silt in the system. It's been one of the best parts of this house. It's been rock solid.
Well, that's it for our trip back to the Kinney.
We had to go and look for the cans and then the cardboard from the fruit stores. Getting rid of so much stuff that was going to be burned or thrown away or end up in the rivers, in the sea, and seeing all those materials transformed and become an Earthship. I think that's one of the parts I really enjoy the most. We were grabbing the tires and everyone was like, oh, so what are you going to do with tires? And we were saying, we're going to build a house out of tires. And they were, nah, really, you're going to build a house out of tires? There's so many tires here, you can build so many houses. And I guess the reply was like, yeah, that's what we want to do.